Mariners have decided to trade Erik Swanson as well as Adam Macko in return for Teoscar Hernandez. I love this trade. I think it's a fantastic trade for the Seattle Mariners. Both sides, I think, in the end, get something that they needed. There is depth added to the Toronto Blue Jays roster in an area where they struggled with last year, and Swanson is definitely not an easy pitcher to hit against. I was surprised Seattle didn't use him more in the postseason, but he is going to be a fantastic addition to the Toronto Blue Jays. I think overall both sides come out of this with a win. Swanson is under club control, whereas Teoscar Hernandez is going to be a free agent after the next season. Now, with the Seattle Mariners, I think this really fits a need that they were needing drastically last year, which is an outfielder that can play every day and possibly hit above 250. That's what they tried to ultimately get with Jesse Winker, but that has not ultimately panned out. As we can see, this past season, he had statistically one of the worst seasons he's ever had as an MLB hitter, and who knows if he'll even be on the team next year. Cool to see him on the team next year if he can change things around, but I just don't really see that happening by the basis of what you read on the internet. There's a lot of talk about he will be shipped around to some other squad. I really like this trade for Seattle, though. Teoscar Hernandez is going to give them a bolster to that lineup. Give him over 250 average, 25 home runs. That's what you can book for next season. The Mariners, I think, got themselves another additional 3 to 4 wins, if not more, by just this one addition. You're probably thinking, oh, is one guy really going to do that? Well, yes, I think overall the expertise, the veteran presence of that player is going to help the squad. In a lot of ways, he's like a Carlos Santana more in his prime. That's kind of what I would compare him to. I wouldn't say necessarily that they're very similar. I'm just saying the matter of production is that they're going to get about 20 to 25 home runs. You might get 270 out of them, batting average, and that's going to bolster a lineup that needed some changes. I mean, they struggled last year on offense. The Achilles heel of the Seattle Mariners was their offense. If their offense was just a little bit better, we're definitely looking at a different result as it came to the Houston Astros. I mean, think about it. That offense was pretty atrocious the last game. They couldn't score a run in 18 innings. Then they had game 2 where they only scored 2 runs and lost 4-2. And then the first game they lost 7-8, and we all know what happened in that one. But I think this is really going to help bolster the Mariners roster, and I'm really excited to see what this decision does. And hopefully they can get him re-signed, because if they can re-sign Teoscar Hernandez, they've got some good key pieces locked up. You know, they locked up Luis Castillo last year. They locked up Julio Rodriguez. And, you know, there's a lot more, I think, decisions coming. This is one of many for the Mariners. This is by no means the stop or the pause. This is probably one of maybe 3 to 4 decisions that they're going to make. I hope that they possibly look into re-signing Mitch Haniger. I recognize he was injured this past season, and he's had some injuries in the past years. But I would say that he is definitely a productive bat that any team would benefit from. And if the Mariners picked him up, if you had Julio Rodriguez out there, Teoscar Hernandez and Mitch Haniger with possibly platooning Jared Kelenic, Sam Haggerty, or Kyle Lewis, you know, if you decide to move on from Jesse Winker, that is looking pretty stellar. I like that 3 mix of combination. And if Haniger can't stay healthy, you still have a fallback with Jared Kelenic. You have a fallback with Kyle Lewis, which obviously we've had some injury issues with Kyle Lewis, but he is recovering from some knee surgeries. So I'm excited. I think this is a good decision for the Mariners. What do you rate this trade? I'd say the overall grade for me is I'm probably going to give it about a B+ right now for the Mariners side. I still think Toronto didn't get necessarily fleeced. That's obviously a lot of the perspective you see online. They moved some cap. They got a reliever that's pretty solid. Erik Swanson is going to give you some great things. Adam Macko, he might be a really good prospect in return. We don't really see how well those players pan out until they're about 23, 24, right? So it's going to take some time for him to develop. But I think overall, both teams got better. What are your thoughts on the decision